Welcome, 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 welcome. I am Sumana Jeddy. So delighted to be here on a Wednesday, the second Wednesday of February, which is when we do our reskilling session. I am just so happy to be back once a month to do a LinkedIn Live, which I love to do. And just really happy that this has begun. This is really something that I'm excited to be a part of and to be teaching. So let's begin and let's just get started and get right into it. Just want to double check that if I am doing the streaming that I have to check, it's going to the right place. And it is. So I'm just so happy to be here. Reskill with Jeddy in 15 minutes is a micro learning session. I'm going to spend 15 minutes with you to teach you just some evidence-based strategies. So every month we have a new blog that gets published. So if you're watching us live, please let me know you're watching me live. If you're going to watch the replay, please put that in the comment. I just want to know that everyone is out there listening. Just give me a hi, give me a hello, give me something, just so I know that you're there watching and listening. This is going to go by really fast because that's what happened last time. It went by really fast because this is intended to be a 15-minute micro learning session, and then I do about 15 minutes of Q&A, and then that's it. That's all there is to this. So I'm really, again, just really happy to be here. I'm not going to keep my camera on for too long because I do want this to be more of an audio based learning piece. So if you're here watching, thank you so much. Really just happy to be here and teach you. So the way this works is I go live on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. And after about a few seconds of just checking in that everyone's here, Len's here. Thank you. Hey, Len. Nice to see you again. Then what I do is I turn my camera off and I just make this into kind of like a micro podcast type of a session. So you don't have to see my face particularly. You just have to listen to the strategies. So every month we have a new blog that we post on Jeddy Wellness on the first Wednesday of every month, and every second Wednesday of every month. This is something new that I'm doing to try to get this information, some strategies out to people who like listening to audios and just like learning in a different modality. So we want to make sure you're getting all the different modalities of learning, whether you like reading, whether you like doing something like this, or whether you like watching a video. So that is the intention of that. So, with that being said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive right in because time is of the essence for these 15-minute micro learning sessions. If you don't know who I am, I'm Sumana Jeddy, and I am the founder and CEO of Jeddy Wellness. And we provide evidence based strategies. We do consulting for workplaces. We also have now Oh, I'm so sorry. We did lose sound. Your sound is gone because I clicked a button, and I'm sorry. And I'm glad you commented that. Thank you. Yes, the sound is back. I don't know what you heard me say the last little bit here, but thank you for Jackie for calling me out that I accidentally pressed the mute button. So, anyways, let's get right into it. What I was saying was all of these strategies are embedded within three domains of mental health, which is, making sure that we are promoting mental health, making sure that we are preventing harm, and making sure that we are responding to problems. So those are the domains. So let's talk about the first one, which is anchoring your day and managing your workload. I was hoping to ask you, and you can put this in the comment box as you're listening to me. When I say anchor your day and manage your workload, the very first question that I have for you is to what listen, do you know the three different types of workload, and do you know how to manage those three different types of workload? This is something that we teach a lot in our corporate well-being space, which is the three different types of workload, which is prescribed workload, perceived workload, and actual workload. So when I talk about mental health as a operational strategy, I would like you to consider, how can I anchor my day by auditing the different types of workload? What is my actual job? What is my prescribed job? And what is my perceived job? A lot of the times, our perceived responsibilities are always higher than the job that we're actually intending to, or we're hired to do. So right off the bat, when I'm talking about anchoring your day, I want you to just focus on elements in your day that allow you to either attach to the job and then detach from the job. And that is something that I'd like you to focus on. And also make sure that you are auditing your three different types of workload. Now, within the blog on jeddywellness.com/blogs, there is an additional reading where you can learn about workload management. And we've talked about all these different types of workload as well. So that's the very first strategy. The second one, I think we've talked about this in other places as well, but really just spending a little bit of time, maybe during this attachment and detachment component, trying to figure out like if there were some great or good things that happened. Maybe they don't have to be great things that happened. They can also be neutral things that happened throughout the day, and figuring out how did I get to that win, and what strength did I use to get to that win. So it's not just about celebrating the win, but if you tie it to a strength that you have, it will allow you to have better mental health for the day. So we're thinking micro strategies. We're not thinking too many complicated things. Really, really small elements here. Keep those comments coming in. Feel free to ask me questions as well. If anything comes up for you while I'm speaking, I'm happy to kind of refer to that. But the remaining 15 minutes of this session will be towards some Q&A as well. Okay, the third strategy, which I absolutely love, which is strengthening and maintaining HQC. I call them HQC, which are high quality connections. These are the people that are going to energize you. These are the individuals in your life that are going to be there to see those wins and celebrate those wins with you. You want those energizers in your life, and they don't have to be too many people. If you can have even one or two people in your life that are your high quality connections, keep them close and strengthen that network. I know we're so good on LinkedIn with strengthening our network and having those high quality connections. But also, again, just like we would do strategy number one, which is managing and auditing your workload, strategy number three is also making sure that you're auditing your high quality connections as well. Charlie, welcome. Nice to see you. Number four is building trust through support and openness. I love this one because this is one of our most popular and well-read blogs of 2025. And it was co-written by Jason Roeder, our Jeddy Wellness Ambassador, and myself. One of the biggest things that you can do towards strategizing and operationalizing your mental health is building trust through support and vulnerability and openness, and not having those barriers between teams and leaders. I've seen lots of different workplace dynamics that are broken because of lack of trust. And I know this has come up in Workplace Wellness Hour as well. The loyalty to workplaces is diminishing. How do we bring back that loyalty in the workplace? We bring that back through trust and through openness and having that support system. And we need to start working on that. And honestly, this is something you have to do every single day. I don't think this is something that you can just do whenever. I think this is just something you have to operationalize every single day, and that is super, super important. Now, the next thing that I want to focus on is monitoring, reviewing, and adjusting. Now, if you know Jeddy Wellness, you know that Jeddy Wellness is a data informed company. Almost everything that we do is data driven. So, no matter what strategy that you are using to support your mental health, I really want you to focus on monitoring if that's working for you, adjusting what's not working for you, and making sure that you're on top of it, because not everything is always going to work out the way you wanted. And everything we do can be data informed, and every piece of strategy that we do, and if that strategy isn't working, I'd like you to pivot and do something different. So use this time to review and adjust and monitor if your mental health is getting better or if it's actually not at all. So those are the things that I want you to focus on. Nothing that I've shared with you is difficult to do. All of these things, in fact, even auditing your workload, can be done in a very, quick way. And once you have the data, and once you know that this is what I'm going to be doing and this is what's working for me, then it starts becoming easier to embed these strategies within your working day. I don't want you to make mental health as another thing that you have to do, because that can become really difficult and really challenging. I'd like you to think about mental health as something that we can really just embed into our workflows and within our domains, and just making it easy for us to do. Nothing needs to be complicated. We have enough going on as it is. So any one of these can be operationalized within any work environment, within your teams, within the leadership group, as well as within workplaces. So that's what I would like to kind of say and end with that. Do you have any questions for me at this point? Because over the next 10 minutes or 15 minutes or so, I'm happy to take some questions, happy to talk about any one of these in detail, or any other issues. Are we still having audio issues? Or because I reconnected my microphone, so you should be listening to me from my really good microphone. I think when I went on mute, my microphone changed to my MacBook, but now it's back onto the regular high quality microphone, which I intended to use. So I'm hoping that the audio is good and that you can hear. And hopefully everyone can think about one or two of these things that you want to start to implement. So my question, if you're listening to me, would be this. My question would be, out of these 5 things that you see on the screen right now, which one do you think is something that you would like to try to do right away here? And I love Len's question. Please clarify the 3 different types of workload that you mentioned. I love that question, and this is something that I have talked about in the past, and I'm going to talk to you about it again. So there's 3 different types of workload. The first one is actual workload. So this would be the workload that you would be assigned when you get your job. So this would be the job description that you are your boss says this is the job that you are going to be doing. So that's the actual workload. The second workload, sorry, I take that back. I'm going to start over. There's actual workload, prescribed workload, and perceived workload. So actual workload is the one that you're actually doing. So for example, you start your job and you say that this is, I'm supposed to be doing reporting and that's my job. But now all of a sudden I'm doing reporting, but I'm also doing marketing. And marketing was never really part of my job description. And so that's a little odd, but I'm kind of doing it. So that becomes your prescribed workload. Your prescribed workload, if you think of the word prescription, this would be the job that your boss is saying, hey, we hired you to do this job. So you are prescribing me to do this job. But then somehow along the lines, your actual workload doesn't quite match the prescribed workload. You're doing more than or less than what you were intending to do. The second one is your perceived workload, which is what you're thinking your workload is. There's a lot of organizations where people start to think that I have more work than I'm actually supposed to be doing. They start taking on, if you've heard the word scope creep, if you know what that terminology is, in the project management world, we call it scope creep. Sometimes you end up taking on other people's workload and you start you start believing that that is your workload and that becomes your perceived workload. And what tends to happen is your perceived workload and your prescribed workload and your actual workload, they don't match. And then there's all of this stress that comes out because you were hired to do A, but you're actually doing B. And on top of that, you're doing something totally different. So if you take a little bit of time and audit what those three elements of your workload are, it's going to help us again operationalize how we do mental health. And Sam, thank you so much for chiming in there. My brain was having a little bit of a it's been a really long day of teaching. I've been teaching all day, so I've just been like, wait a minute, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. So hopefully that made sense, and I'm happy to put those definitions into the comment box. But in the February blog, if you scroll to the bottom of the blog, I have actually tagged the Manage Your Workload blog as well. And there's a really beautiful graphic there that you can take a look at that describes the three different types of workload and how you can kind of audit that. And I can't stress this enough. It is so important to do this audit. And once you, again, I'm very data informed. So once you start to see that, wait a minute, I was actually hired to do this, but I am doing way more, way more stuff. So how did that happen? And once you start putting those duties in these different buckets, you're able to be in a better position to negotiate and do some trade offs. We talk about this a lot in the mental health space, in the well being space. How can I tell my boss that I'm burnt out, but I don't want to tell my boss I'm burnt out because maybe I may not get that promotion. Maybe I may not get, the cool project that I want to work on. But trade off is a really good way. And again, data informed. Here's the data to support why I'm working as much as I am. And maybe there's ways that we can reposition these activities and the workload so that I'm able to perform in a way that's not going to burn me out and that's not going to add more stuff to my mental well-being. Any other questions? Perfect. Let's see. Thank you to Stephen for your comment. I love that. And to Sam as well. And to Lisa, welcome. Thank you for being here. Who else is here? Can we talk about, from Jay, can we talk about confidentiality? Because trust and confidentiality go hand in hand. Absolutely. So when I talk about number 4, which is building trust, one of the most important things you can do to develop psychological safety is to have trust in the workplace. So confidentiality, I agree with you 100%. It does go hand in hand with trust, meaning that if I tell my boss something confidential, a disability, a mental health illness, or a personal problem, or anything that should not, my salary, I've heard stories about salary disclosure that sometimes happen. There's a lot of things where breaches in confidentiality can definitely break trust, and we want to prevent that. So in leadership positions, if you are a leader, hear me loud and clear when I say this, if you are a new manager, if you are a new leader, or if you are a seasoned leader, I highly recommend to, maybe go read our blog. Our trust blog is really, really good. But in addition to that, check in with yourself and identify, like, what am I doing that may be causing some confidentiality issues in my team? Am I noticing gossip in my workplace? Why is that? Because that can also lead to low psychological safety, and that can also lead to lack of trust, and that can eventually hurt our mental health and well-being. So all of these things that I'm talking about, these are individual things, but these are also system level organizational items as well, because we want this to work for the workplace, but we need the teams and the leaders and you as individuals to also be supporting this as well. Any other questions? Joining from Massachusetts. I love Massachusetts. We were there last year. What a fun time. Other questions. What do you mean by, Len's coming through with lots of questions. I love it. What do you mean by anchor your workload? Actually, there's two different pieces there. First, it's anchoring your day and then managing your workload. So anchoring your day is the element where I am telling you that I want you to find ways, because what happens when workload is really high is we start to unravel. We start to go into what we call in science the loss spiral. The conservation of resources theory is one I talk about a lot, where I say, well, not I say, but the theory says that we as individuals only have a limited amount of resources. We don't have unlimited resources. So when our mental health starts to be affected by workload, for example, then what we want to do is try to find spaces, micro moments within the day to anchor your day so that we don't get stuck in that loss spiral that typically tends to happen because workload becomes unmanageable. And one of the biggest triggers of burnout is high workload. You hear a lot of high performers say workload is too high and this is why I burnt out. So I want to find ways to not take a sick day, not take long-term or short-term disability leave, but I really do want to stay in my job. But how do I manage that? So anchoring your day is just one step prior to doing that audit of your workload. So I just want you to find a time where you can attach to the environment, and there's a lot of attachment strategies that you can do: grounding, a little bit of mindfulness, a little bit of meditation, to say I'm attaching myself to this task that I need to do. And then detachment would be the opposite strategy of recovery, where you are allowing yourself not to be thinking about your work all the time. So give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you're someone who is unable to detach from your workday. And one of the simplest strategies that I've been using, if you see that in my post, I think Hannah had asked me, Hannah Neese, who's one of our ambassadors, she asked me, Samana, how do you do it? How do you attach and anchor your day within as a business owner? And I said, and this is something I've been doing consistently since 2020, when Jeddy Wellness first became what it is that even if I work from home, I'm always anchoring my day by putting on my work clothes. Whether I have a meeting, whether it's a Zoom meeting, or whether it's not a meeting, I never come into my office space in my pajamas. I have never done that, and I don't think I'll ever do it, because it's a super simple strategy for me to get into work mode, just like you would get into gym mode. Getting into your gym clothes kind of puts you into that gym workout mode. It's a very similar thing. So I anchor my day by putting on my work clothes, and I come to the office so I know that I'm working. And if there happened to be a Zoom meeting, I'm already dressed. I already have my mascara on. I am ready to go. And this is a discipline thing, but this is also a very strategic, evidence-based strategy to anchor your workday. Thank you for that question. I love that. Another question from Jay. I'm interested in hearing how automation or AI has impacted these 5 strategies. That's a really good question. I don't really know how to answer that. Maybe that's something everyone else listening and watching live can maybe help with some comments in there as well. I think that might be, I think it's very, to be quite honest, the workload part of it, AI might be very helpful. If we can use AI to help us categorize our workload, I may have actually mentioned this in Workplace Wellness Hour to Felipe Cofino. And I told him, like, why don't you categorize your workload and use AI to help you do that so that you're not feeling overwhelmed by this task? So I think there's some ways to use AI as a tool to help support these things. And then you're still going to want to do your, trade-offs and those conversations with your boss and things like that. High quality connections, I'm not sure how AI can do that, because I think that's something we really need to be focused on as to what's important to me. A high quality connection for me might be different from a high quality connection to you, Jay, or to Len or to Sam or to Charlie, like whoever is listening, you might all have a different persona of a high quality connection. So I don't know how AI might help that, but again, I'm open to learning from you as well. We have about 4 minutes left, so I do want to respect the 15 minutes of Q&A and the 15 minutes of our strategy as well. Any other questions from the chat box? What do you mean by, sorry, there's another one here. What do you suggest that is monitored, reviewed, and adjusted, i.e., general or each of the other four strategies? Exactly. Each of the other four strategies is the correct answer. While you're doing your mental health, you're creating kind of a bespoke mental health system for yourself. I would like you to try all five of them and figure out, like, well, what's working for me? Am I really able to have better mental health if I just do one? Or maybe I need to do one and four, for example, or maybe two and three are working really well for me. Workload is not really my problem. But what really works for me is if I take a moment before the end of my day, especially if you're a busy, high performing leader and someone who is very much, the type A person, I would suggest, and this is something we teach leaders a lot. Sam and I are collaborating in our space with Zenrally and Jeddy Wellness, and we tell leaders the same exact thing. We tell leaders, how do we give yourself a moment to talk about your positive, your negative, and your neutral moments? And how do I tie that back? I think that's the key element here, is how do I tie those things back to my strength? Because even if you have a loss, even if things don't go well, there was something that you did that was you using your strength. And that is a very powerful mental health buffer. So what we're trying to do here is figuring out ways that is going to prevent us from spiraling into that loss spiral, and giving us some strategic support, things that we can do without feeling kind of icky, because I know some or workplaces don't want to talk about mental health. So any one of these things can be talked about in a meeting. We can really operationalize any one of these things in a very collaborative and sustainable way, so that we are not feeling that mental health is another task I need to do to check off a box to tell HR that I really, really loved and I really, really did this mental health strategy. I don't really want that to happen. I want this to become more sustainable and more just easy. Okay. Other things. What do we have here? More comments from Jay for another couple minutes. What am I when I'm not clocked in? Employee Jay is not in the house. Love, love, love that. Detachment is detachment. When you are resting or recovering, rest and recovery are different elements of detachment. So if you're detaching, detach and be off the clock. I absolutely love that. And another comment here from Sam. If you're not following Sam, please do go into her space, give her a quick follow. There's a lot of wonderful things that Sam and I are doing with respect to bringing sustainable well-being strategies to workplaces. Individual, group, leader, organization is at the top of that model. And what we really want to do is to give you strategies that can also be used from the top, the O part of the well-being space, which is one of the hardest things to change, is a workplace. So we want all of these pieces to work really beautifully together, and that's something that I'm starting to work with Sam. So I'm really just excited to have her in the house and have you also learn a little bit more about what we're trying to do in that space. Other comment. This comment's really large, so I'm going to try to read it from Jacqueline. Congratulations. This is the year of victories and achievements in the world, success with accomplishments in your professional and personal life journey. Remember that gratitude transforms your perspective on the path, turning challenges into learning experiences and increasing self experience and empathy. Believe in good. Love that comment. Thank you so much. I think that just sums it up. I don't really have to say any much more after this. I think that is just the perfect end to our show. And if there was one other strategy that I would add to this, that would be gratitude. I do it all the time. I am I'm really, really big on gratitude. I am someone who writes in my gratitude journal every single day before I go to bed. I will admit I only started doing this about 2 months ago. So it was started in November. I did really well in December, and I'm keeping up. I'll say I dropped a couple balls in January. It was a bit hard. So there's a couple of gaps in January because it was just a hard month. I'll tell you that. But I'm trying my hardest to write down a couple things that I'm grateful for just before I go to bed. There's a little notebook beside my bedside table, and I just write that. And I don't know. I know there's a lot of literature, there's a lot of science and evidence to say that this is really helpful. But for me, just before I go to bed, it's just kind of like a it just makes you feel really, really good. So that I 100% believe in that. And thank you for that final comment. It's 6:01. Thank you so much for joining me live on LinkedIn. If you're watching on LinkedIn, if you're watching on YouTube, 15 minutes of micro learning, reskilling, learning something that I hope that you would take at least one of these and apply it into your workday. Learn about workloads, learn about those high quality connections, those different elements. There's a video about that as well. So I've tagged a lot of other content within the blog, and that's in there. So I hope you learn at least one thing. That's always been my mission, is to teach you at least one thing that you can take and say, I love it, I learned it. And with that being said, I will log off for now. I will be back next month. The second Wednesday of every month is our Reskill with Jeddy session. We go live on LinkedIn and live on YouTube. And next month is going to be a whole brand new blog. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because I actually don't know. I haven't written it, but I am going to write it and I'm going to post it. And before I go, I just want to give a shout out to everybody who joined me live. Thank you for keeping me engaged, asking me questions, telling me my mic wasn't working. I appreciate all of that. Really, really grateful to have you here. And just a quick shout out to all of my ambassadors as well. They are killing it on LinkedIn, doing such a great job. Ashita, who is one of our newest and youngest Jeddy Wellness ambassadors from Brock University, also posted about this blog. She made a really cool graphic. I know I have my graphic here, but there's a really nice one that she's made as well. If you like something more visual with lots of other things, have a look at her page. But all of our ambassadors, I'm so grateful to you. You're doing such a wonderful job. Lots of comments, lots of engagement, and just lots of like insightful things that I don't even think about, and they kind of bring to the table from reading our content. So thank you once again, and I'll see you next month, second Wednesday of every month. And with that being said, I will take my good night, goodbye to you, and I will be back in 4 weeks. Alrighty then. Bye, everyone. See you soon. Thank you so much.